We partner with about 600 companies, and those of you who raise your hand and agree to help us run employee giving campaigns within your organizations are extremely critical to the efforts to fundraise in the community, and then think about what that money actually does in our community to help you are helping make a difference in so many lives. And Meg Blue is on today, and she'll go through some of what we do later in the presentation and where that money actually goes and the impact it makes. But just wanted to kind of lay the groundwork of how much we appreciate you being on, first of all, and then second, the work you do within your organization to help our community.
I see the presentation, but I can't hear.
Okay. Can anybody else not hear me? I apologize. My settings are all on.
Where am I muted?
Okay. Okay. I did want to mention our campaign chairs, Rob and Stacy Reed from Physicians Mutual. Physicians Mutual is helping us with this campaign this year, and thank them for all that they're doing. As you can see, these are all their employees out in the parking lot, and they did a celebration of United Way and congratulated us. It is our 100th birthday, and they did that in their parking lot. But I just think it's amazing they got all their employees to go outside on a very, very hot day to do this video. Let me play for you.
I think giving back for us is a way for us to put our faith into practice. And, you know, to whom much is given, much is required. And so the opportunity to be active in the communities in which we live and work is really, really important for the two of us as well as our entire family.
Of course, you had to throw a quote in there.
I think what's most special about United Way of the Midlands is we connect people who need assistance with those who want to help. In our community, it's unique. We have people that are really trying to do for themselves. 70% of people that are living in poverty have at least one job in the household. What we're trying to do is bridge that gap for them, make sure they have the essentials that they need, but then also provide opportunities for them to increase their financial stability.
I was just always and still am in awe of the number of people, the number of services, how far out it reaches. They just do a really, really good job top to bottom.
The ability of all of us as individuals is not nearly as great as the collective power that United Way is able to leverage, both from the raising of funds as well as smartly investing those funds raised in truly impactful programs throughout our community.
What they do, the scope and magnitude, it wouldn't be around for 100 years if they weren't doing it right.
Here at Physicians Mutual, we leverage our decades-old partnership with the United Way of the Midlands to build team spirit.
From someone that's watching from the outside, I'm always in awe of how much fun they have.
I think Physicians Mutual really does best in class when it comes to making United Way part of their culture. And not only do they do fun things throughout the year, whether it be giveaways or contests or games, this year they really put an exclamation point on it when they had their entire team go out and wish the community and United Way specifically a happy 100 years.
Happy 100th birthday, United Way!
And certainly our mission, our vision is focused on our product lines, our customers, but being active in the communities in which we live and work is something that we really strive to accomplish. And while it's fun to be unique, you know, when you think about what product or service your company might offer to the marketplace, in this case, I hope everyone takes whatever little nuggets of inspiration they can from how we try to leverage our partnership with United Way of the Midlands and take what makes sense for your organization, get involved to the level you feel comfortable, and I'll assure you that this was not all present day one as we started our partnership way back when with United Way. the Midlands. It just continues to evolve and grow.
We as leaders try to set an example, and we feel United Way is extremely important. We hope we can show them that there's a fun way to do this, but yet a serious way to do it. And we really hope that people see and hear our message and give to United Way.
So if you didn't understand why I was excited about Rob and Stacy being our chairs, now hopefully you do. They really have a heart for our community, and their organization has a huge heart. So hopefully their thoughts represent a lot of what you guys are doing. I'm going to introduce the CEO of United Way, my boss, Shauna Forsberg, and she's going to give you a little bit of information about what's going on in the community and kind of why we do what we do.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate you. And we really appreciate you all joining us today. Campaigns are not successful if it isn't for a ton of people raising their hands to help us. And so our goal for today is to provide as much information as we can so you feel really ready to jump into the campaign. But most importantly, we hope you feel cared for and loved by the team here. We're incredibly grateful to all of you for being part of this work. So my data wonk, Lauren Kimball, started to pull together some information just so that everyone can get a really good idea of what we're seeing in the community and what's affecting how we do this work and how we invest. Because at the end of the day, we do all of this fundraising really to drive change and positive change in the community, and really work on your behalf as a philanthropic wing, right? We really want you to feel that every penny that you entrust in us is really driving positive change. So one of the things that I think is really interesting about our community is a lot of people are really thriving, but we're seeing a widening opportunity gap. And when you look at poverty, there's folks that live in really deep poverty that, many times can be unhoused and struggling to make ends meet. But where we're seeing a lot of growth right now or challenges in who we're helping are people that are working, right? They're trying really hard to make ends meet. And what United Way's programs do is really bridge that gap. I think this number is staggering when you think that we have 300,000 people at any given moment that are struggling. And that's the group that we're really trying to affect. If you could go to the next slide for me, Laura. You're going to hear that a lot. Sorry, there wasn't an easy way for all of us to manage transition. So, as we said, we really have data that helps drive our decision making. And the good news is that poverty is decreasing in the community, but we really do see disparity. So families, African American families, Hispanic, Latino families, there tends to be a higher rate of poverty within those communities. And so we really are intentional in how we go about our investments to ensure that we're providing opportunities for everyone. Next slide. The other thing that I think you'll see is interesting is a lot of times you think about poverty in the community as being very concentrated in certain areas of our community. But what we're really recognizing is that, poverty exists in many different parts of our community. And there are 27 tracts with poverty over 20%. I think that might surprise many of us as we're looking at this. Really, it could be the child sitting next to your child at school. It could be somebody you're seeing at the grocery store that's really trying to make ends meet. And so we're looking at it very intentionally and trying to get the dollars to the folks that really need it most. Next slide for me. I think the other thing that is something all of us are going to need to continue to look at is addressing senior poverty. And as we have aging baby boomers and people that are leaving the workforce for a myriad of reasons, we're actually seeing growth, unfortunately, in seniors struggling. It used to be that we talked primarily about children and children in single parent households, and that's absolutely a big challenge in the community. But now we're also seeing more increase in poverty with our seniors. And so we're being very intentional in how we leverage those investments as well to make sure we're addressing issues, for the senior population. Between 2020 and 2024, the senior population is projected to increase by 51%. And so, just that growth in the baby boomer side of things, those are the things that we're starting to look at. And please, by all means, if you have questions, I don't know if you can raise the electronic hand or pipe in. This is really a a casual conversation, and we want to make sure you're walking away with a deep understanding of what we're up to here. I think the other thing, when you look at poverty, there's people that live in chronic poverty that, just have had a lot of challenges in life and are trying to, have a hard time really ever, getting out of poverty. But the problem that we're seeing too is there's more short-term poverty. And those are the things when you hear about, a single incident like a health scare, or somebody has transportation issue and a car goes down, or things like that. Those types of issues, when people are living, really paycheck to paycheck, can throw people into poverty. And so what we try to do is make sure we're spending dollars in programs that help stabilize individuals. I'm sure you've heard a lot about the housing challenges, and we're really starting to see an uptick in our community on evictions, and with the ARPA dollars coming in and available to help families really no longer available. And as a community, we're going to have to really address that. We're going to have to lean into the housing crisis, because the last thing you want to do is for a family to become unhoused. It's very hard to get back on your feet once that happens, and especially when they've got children in the household, right? We really want to make sure those kids are stable in their school systems and things like that. So we're spending a lot of time, and you're going to learn a little bit more from Meg later about what we're seeing in housing stability, but know that those are some of the things that we're going to really lean into as a United Way to try to help address. I think this is also a very important thing for us to understand. We have nearly 70% of people in our community that are living in poverty, at least one job in a household. We are workers in Omaha and Council Bluffs. People are very much trying to do for themselves, but as you see, inflationary pressures cause challenges for families. They say the dollar doesn't go as far as the grocery store or at the gas pump. If you're, really trying to piece together your monthly bills, that's where we're seeing folks struggle. And so our goal is to invest in programs that help stabilize those families. And then also we invest in a lot of education and financial stability programs that help people increase their skill set and have opportunities for higher wage positions. But this is one indicator we look at very carefully. It's not something you want to be ranked in the top 5, right? What we really want to do is address this and hope that more families that have working individuals in their family are able to care for themselves and are not living in poverty. Next slide for me, please. And as I said, we're workers. We rank incredibly high for the number of people that are in working, number of women that are working, late career access. I mean, we are workers in Nebraska. So I think the biggest thing is that we're trying to help families that are trying to do for themselves bridge that gap. And even look at education rates and things like that. I think it's really important to understand that the folks we're helping are doing their level best, and we're just trying to supplement a bit and try to help them out. Next slide for me, please. So we thought maybe we'd just have some very specific things to share with you, some of the areas in which we invest and what we're seeing. On any given night, there's an average of 1,400 people that are homeless in our community. And of course, I know all of you feel that's unacceptable. What can we do to address that? 1 in 3 people have experienced symptoms of chronic depression. I think mental health definitely came to light during the pandemic, and recognition that, even people with grit and fortitude need help sometimes, and that it's okay to ask for help. And, we invest in quite a few mental health areas, but it's definitely something that we're watching and keeping our eye on. Childcare issues, when you have a high number of people that are working, childcare can be a challenge too, and making sure that you have good childcare for children so that they're continuing to progress in their learnings while their parents are out working. This next one, the 50,000 are paying too much for rent, or and then on top of it, it's that access to affordable housing. When you make so much a month, typically you should only have 30 to 35% of your overall wages go towards your housing. There aren't as many housing options for people, especially safe housing options for families in the metro. Now, I'm proud of our community. There's a lot of great work going on with Front Porch Work and others. But we were already behind in affordable housing before the pandemic. And then, of course, building starts slowed significantly during that time frame. So this is something we're spending a lot of time looking at and really working to ensure that, you know, we're helping families find a place that's safe for them and, you know, and that they can afford, right? So that's something as a community we're all going to have to lean into. At all income levels, this one makes me sad, right? Fewer people say they have someone to turn to. And so we actually have initiated here at United Way mental health first aid training with the assistance of our Women United group. We feel it's important to open your heart and really understand what's going on with others around you. And if all of us are more open to that, we can help people that are struggling with mental health and give them alternatives and options and recognition, right, when they need assistance. And I think the pandemic, again, was a big indicator in this. Some of us aren't great at home. My staff knew that. I was calling them all the time because I hated being there by myself. And so, you know, I think all of us had a look into, you know, feeling fragile at that moment. The other thing is the number of disconnected youth has increased from about 8,900 to 12,000. And really disconnected youth mean they're young people that are not connected to work or schooling and are really struggling, right? So we watch that number as that's the pipeline, and some of the programs we have, like our Jobs for America's Graduates program and others, are things that are really trying to address that. Laura, can you go to the next one for me, please? We developed a new mission statement. We hope you that this you feel encapsulates. We do. We love it. United Way unites our community's caring spirit to build a stronger tomorrow, and you're all part of that. So I encourage you to utilize that as you're thinking about talking with your staff members on why they can get involved with us. The other thing is that I think it's important to know that we're better together, and Rob articulated that really well in the video that you saw going into this. If we look at the community-wide perspective and we pull donor dollars together and really understand which organizations are doing the best work and pull together volunteers, we actually can drive further impact in the community and be really smart about how, you know, we're driving change. And that's why, you know, we are so grateful that you're part of this. We think it takes all of us working together to address these really big challenges in our community. Some of the things I think you may get questions on when you're talking to your staff members, you know, so what happens if I donate to, how does United Way utilize these dollars? Always really important to understand that the dollars stay here local. Our community investments and programs team, they work really hard to find the best programs and the best work that's going on and get the dollars right here. We work incredibly hard to be efficient. We've added quite a few direct service programs in this last year, and in all honesty, that's actually helped us be more efficient because we share back of house expenses. We use the same, you know, finance team and HR teams, et cetera, because we want your folks to know when they donate through here, the large majority of that is getting back out into the community. And we're also very lucky in Omaha to have Mr. Warren Buffett reside here because he matches our entire campaign based on the number of Tocqueville donors, which is 10,000 or more. And so in all honesty, your dollars that are given through United Way are even, you know, matched by around 10% each year to get, you know, more dollars into the community. We are community centered. So, you know, the folks that make the investments decisions are led by our community impact team, but we also bring in donors like you and content experts to think with us and help ensure that we're getting the programs funded that really are doing the best work. And impact driven. Many of us that are at United Way come out of corporate America, and we know that you have to look at data and you have to make sure you're holding yourselves and those that you work with accountable. And that really helps us ensure that, you know, the impact that was intended with the investments is achieved. And we take that responsibility to heart and really want to ensure when you're sharing your treasure with us that those dollars are really doing what they're supposed to do in the community. Next slide for me, please. Also thought it'd be interesting for you to see, you know, who we're primarily helping. So we invest or direct over 160 programs. We have partnerships all across the community. We've been honored to work on behalf of the mayor with additional ARPA investments. We work you know, with good fellows through the Omaha World Herald and others. But the folks that we're primarily serving are 65% of them earn $15,000 or less. 29% are under the age of 18, which again, we talked about children being especially impacted by poverty. 58% are female and 47% are from the BIPOC community, which is an important thing when you think about trying to equalize social and economic disparities. And you'll see that we invest in programs all across our metro that are located, in the communities that we serve. Next slide, please. So I guess I kind of want to wrap up my piece by just, sharing how we look at the scope of United Way's work, right? We're very intentional about investments. We work really hard to make sure every dollar that's entrusted to be invested through here is really getting to amazing programs. We use analytics. We have, like I said, our really strong data people that help us think through this and ensure what we're trying to do, we're actually delivering. We work very hard to pool resources and have diverse revenue streams. So we are fortunate to be recipients of both state and federal funds, philanthropy through grants, family foundations and corporate foundations, and then we cobble that together with investments from 40,000 people across our community, and it's humbling. But we do feel like pulling all of those dollars together makes an amazing difference. We do lead direct service programs, 3 of them specifically, our 211 contact center, which some of you may not be aware, but on July 1st, we actually were contracted by our friends in Iowa to run the 211 call center 24/7 for all of Iowa as well. That data is really important to us, but also being able to affect and help people across the whole state of Nebraska and Iowa is something we're very proud of. Our JAG program, which is our Jobs for America's Graduates program, through some tremendous funding through Governor Pillen, Commissioner Alvin, and the state of Nebraska, we're growing that exponentially across the state. And then we've been running a really important program called the Court Referral Community Service Program, where we work with the court systems when people have either fees or charges, and they can, instead of spending time in jail, in the Douglas County Jail, they do community service work. We think that's yet another example of trying to take something that's maybe a negative and turn it into a positive for the community. So I'll leave you with a couple things. We do have our Day of Caring event coming up, and I think you're talking volunteerism later, but it's a really great way to get your folks involved in the work, right? I think once they see firsthand all the great work going on in the community, they'll be that much more, believing in, the work and better understanding of it and want to get involved. We have our annual meeting on October 20th, which has actually become one of our favorite days of the year because we get to celebrate our corporate partners that, go above and beyond, because we just simply can't do it without all of you. And then we have the community investment review teams, which Meg will talk about. We're now starting to recruit for those team members, and would highly encourage, if you have folks that are interested in learning more about the specific programs in the community, it's one of the most inspiring and valuable volunteer opportunities that you can have. You have to put your head down and work hard with us. If you say you're going to do it, we need you all in, right? But once you're part of it, I think you'll just feel incredibly proud and impressed of the organizations and people that are working to try to, lift folks up that need assistance. So if you've even thought about it, or you have people in your organizations that might find that interesting, I'd highly encourage you to get them to sign up for one of these 2 information sessions. So, and Meg, you'll hear from later. So at this moment, I'm going to turn it over to Chrissy, but if anybody has any questions for me and wants to ask it here on chat or raise your hand, I'm here. If not, you can always email me or reach out. But thank you so much for being partners with us.
Great, thanks, Shauna. So I'm Chrissy Susky. I'm the SVP of Marketing and Communications, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about some campaign resources that you can leverage. So Laura, if you'll go to the next slide. So Campaign Headquarters is out on our website. You will find so many resources out there that will help you efficiently run your campaign. We are constantly updating this content. So I'll pop out there in a few minutes and show you where it's located, but you can see here that we have some quick links that can get you to the content you're looking for very quickly. We have a campaign manager handbook that we've created that will help you with just kind of some thought-provoking ideas on campaigns that you can run within your workplace, and also some different kind of key dates that you want to stick to. So Laura, if you go to the next slide. We have added quite a bit of video content this year. So we know that, video is an easy way to consume content, and we want to make sure that you have lots of resources to share with all of your employees on the need for donating to United Way. So we have videos highlighting our 100 years. We have lots of different videos about our programs, like our JAG program. We have a number of videos from some of our agency partners, and we have a ton of plug and play templates. So we have email templates, different PowerPoint slides, flyers. We have all of the collateral that you would need to run your campaign. Next slide, Laura. We've also kind of increased recognition. So our top 100 campaigns, we're very proud of them. We have all of the logos. Some of you on this call represent companies that are shown here. We also have some different ways that you can share your story, whether it's wishing United Way a happy 100-year birthday, or if you have some other way that you'd like to showcase some of the success that you've had either with your campaign or personally impacted by United Way. We would love to have you share your story, and there's a form out on our website. Go to the next slide, Laura. We have a fantastic Pick a Partner program. We have a number of great partners that we've partnered with that will give back money to United Way. They will give you a specific code, and as you and your employees make purchases, a percent of that money comes back to United Way and supports your campaign. If you go to the next slide, you can see all of those fantastic partners that we have: Cordial Cherry, Biaggi's, Corky Canvas, Rocket Car Wash, and a number of others. And we continue to add to this because it's a really great way to kind of engage with your employees in a different way and give back to United Way. Go to the next slide. Okay, let me jump out and show you where the campaign headquarters is located. All right, so if you go to our homepage, unitedwaymidlands.org, up here in our navigation bar, campaign headquarters is right here on the right-hand side. We do have a quick way to get to some of the content, but if you just click on campaign headquarters, you will find all of those resources and all of those quick links that get you very quickly to the content you're looking for. There's our fantastic campaign chairs, Rob and Stacy Reed from Physicians. This is your donor engagement team. If you're looking for your contact, their contact information and lovely headshot is out here. This is the campaign manager handbook that I mentioned. It's got different steps and kind of timelines, as well as campaign ideas. You can download it. You can flip through here on our website. We have some different campaign examples. Our YouTube channel, if you don't subscribe, absolutely go out there and subscribe to it. Like I said, we're constantly refreshing content and adding new videos, but we do have, some videos that you can share via email or social. They're kind of condensed down into an easy format that you can share out. I mentioned the Pick a Partner. Here's all the information for all those various Pick a Partners. You just click on Get Started, and you can find all the information you need. It's super easy, and your donor engagement contact can help you with any of that. All of our materials are out here. We've got pledge forms, print materials, mentioned the videos, email templates, success stories, digital materials. All of this information is out here at your fingertips to access. So you can go out here and download materials, or if you need printed materials, we have those in-house that we can share with you. All of that is right here and accessible. And then from a volunteer standpoint, I know Carly's going to talk about that, but we do have all of our volunteer activities highlighted out here. So that is the campaign headquarters. And if you're not finding something that you're looking for, you can absolutely reach out to someone on the team and we will happily point you to where you need to go. Now I'll turn it over to Carly.
Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. My name is Carly Weld, and I'm happy to serve as the Manager of Volunteerism and Corporate Relations here on the United Way team. We know that volunteerism is a really powerful way to engage the community and enhance employee campaigns as well. Volunteerism can be incorporated at any time during your campaign, whether that be during the kickoff as a way to maintain engagement, or also a way to wrap up a successful campaign. But we don't stop volunteerism with just the campaign. We have been very thoughtful and intentional about scheduling days of service and custom volunteer opportunities throughout the year. We know that volunteerism provides a window into the work that we do. And as Shauna mentioned, once you get out there and are a part of it, it's an experience that you can't forget. We get really, really great feedback from all of our from experiences at all of our nonprofit partners who are making a meaningful difference in the community. We've also seen a trend in volunteerism to have volunteer paid time off, or VTO, as well as team building opportunities promoted from leadership in the company. And so our volunteer team here at the United Way of the Midlands is here to support your team as you schedule those opportunities. Get Connected plays a vital role in scheduling opportunities. There are hundreds of volunteer experiences that are available that are great for individuals or teams. And we also partner to create days of service. Within the platform, the volunteer registration allows you to track hours, and we can get down to company hours too and provide reports to you to track participation engagement within your campaign and year round as well. Right now, OPPD does this, and we send reports on a monthly basis. We also leverage the platform not only for referrals, but for days of service, as I mentioned, and then custom volunteer opportunities. Recently, we worked with KPMG to host their annual Day of Service. It's our second year doing this, and their goal was 80 volunteers, that ended up being 120 volunteers at positions at 5 nonprofits across the metro. The scale could be smaller and focus on key stakeholders within your team. We've done this with nonprofits as well. Boys Town volunteered at the Kim Foundation in May. We have been very thoughtful about the timing of our community-wide days of service, and we can head to the next slide and I'll detail each one of those for you. Shine Bright wrapped up just a couple weeks ago, and we engaged hundreds of volunteers to pack 4,700 hygiene kits to be provided to students across the state of Nebraska. This is scheduled intentionally right at the beginning of the school year and focuses on serving kids who are in transition, kindergarten, 6th grade, and 9th grade. Day of Caring is quickly approaching, and we would love for you to join us in participating at one of the many, many nonprofit locations that provides engaging, meaningful opportunities to engage with the community. There's truly something for everyone, whether that be a clerical task, serving a meal, or helping with yard work. Holiday Helpers spotlights agency needs throughout the holiday season. From volunteer opportunities to diaper drives and food drives, volunteers meet the needs of our community by giving back during this critical time of year. Our MLK Day celebration is a single-day event that provides community members from across the metro an opportunity to celebrate the work of Dr. King while networking and building connections to make great things happen in our community. And last but certainly not least, National Volunteer Week. We celebrate volunteer achievements from the previous year while also engaging our community in service. Lastly, I want to share how our team can bring volunteerism to you. We know that sometimes it can be difficult to step out of the workplace, and a Good on the Go can make a great option as a team building activity. Good on the Go's are very customizable. We have a variety of kit types and have worked closely with our nonprofit partners to ensure that the kits contain items that are truly meeting the needs of their clients. National Indemnity incorporated our largest Good on the Go to date with 1,000 kits into their campaign last year, and they saw a participation spike in their volunteerism and in their employee giving campaign. You truly can make a difference while fostering engagement, enhancing your company's reputation. Our marketing staff does a great job crafting and sharing social media posts, and we also provide an impact report detailing the total impact of your project to share with your network. If you are interested in more information about the Good on the Go program for this fall, it does take about 6 to 8 weeks to build out the full project from start to finish. So please contact your account manager here in the donor engagement team. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for having me. I'm Meg Blue. I'm our Director of Community Investments. So I'm here to talk just a little bit about our upcoming investment cycle, what that process will look like, kind of our outlook and what we're expecting for 2022, and then share some information about our Community Investment Review Team. And kind of make a call for volunteers because we are very quickly approaching this investment cycle. And we are excited and really wanting to work and partner with you to be able to make these crucial and critical investments into our community. So, Laura, I will have you go to the next slide. We will kind of go over what our outlook looks like for 2024. When we are in these off cycles for our investments, we're really looking at what our nonprofits are telling us, what they're reporting to us, so we can plan ahead for what the upcoming investments look like. So based on the reporting that we have gathered during this last year, we're really seeing our partners leveraging new technology. This has been a really critical piece of what reporting has looked like for us and how individuals have really moved in the current sector. We've seen a tight labor market plus flexible work options, a lot of mergers, and creating new partners and partnerships. I think what we're really seeing based on the need in the community that people are really rallying together to make sure that critical services are still remaining intact and accessible to individuals in our space that need them. A true advancement in equity for those that are being served and in the workspace, and diversifying revenue in order to act entrepreneurially and communication. All of this to say, we're really looking at an exciting year for 2024 and this next investment cycle. Throughout this, I'll do some plugs for volunteerism and for our community investment team. But last investment cycle, we saw well over 300 applications. We anticipate, based on what we've seen in this last reporting cycle, that we will receive well over 300 applications for investment, which just continues to speak to that community need. So we really need your time and dedication and minds to help us kind of make this work and move forward with this next process. So I'll have Laura, if you want to go to the next slide. We'll kind of go over what the volunteer team structure looks like. So at United Way, we have kind of three primary areas of focus through our Community Care Fund, which are basic needs, education, and financial stability. So when we ask you if you're interested in participating in the team, we will ask you what your particular area of interest is. Because we want to make sure that this being an experience that you're volunteering for, you're really using your time wisely and in areas that you really want to see yourself making a difference in the community. So we'll ask you about your area of focus and what you might be interested in. Priorities, each area of focus has different priority areas. So under basic needs, it could be shelter programming or food programming. Education could be out of school time opportunities or credit recovery. Financial stability, we could be looking at workforce development and entrepreneurship. So we really try to break it down to make sure that we are being responsive to the areas of need in our community and looking at what our nonprofit partners are doing to meet those needs. Each team will have an experienced CERT volunteer running the team meetings. So teams are comprised of about 7 volunteers with a team lead. All of you will review about 10 to 12 applications in your area field of interest. And then you will meet to discuss the merits of those applications and then have a secondary meeting to really break down the funding and make those decisions from there. So your team will meet twice with your team lead and a staff liaison from the United Way Community Investment Team to kind of help guide that process and also provide our insight as it relates to our relationship with our nonprofit partners based on what we've experienced through reporting and the several other things that they help us with throughout the year, whether that be speaking at agency campaigns or providing volunteer opportunities or other experience such as that. So as I said, you'll have kind of a staff facilitator to provide any history or context or other perspective about the program or what those community needs are. And you're assigned those applications. I will say time-wise for commitment, you're probably looking at about 18 to 20 hours over a 3-month period. In the next slide, I'll go over a little bit more of what the timeline looks like, but you'll have about a month to review those applications on your own. You have a scoring rubric that you receive that our team has created where you rank and review, and then we hold those 2 individual meetings in both March and April to really determine. And the one piece I really want to hit home on is just that you have the largest voice in our community about where these funds are distributed, where these dollars are going, and where that impact is made. So just to go over a little bit of what we're looking at when we're looking at that community care funding and reviewing, I mentioned before our 3 areas that we really focus on. We are looking at really making that impact in the Omaha Council Bluffs metro area so that programs that are applying for our funding are serving those communities and populations. We really work to have a diverse portfolio, and we do embed some risk into that. So we want to make sure that we are touching a big focus for us this year are maybe emerging or grassroots programming. So really having a focus there to make sure that we are being flexible and meeting the needs of our community. Reporting is flexible for these nonprofits based on the amounts that they receive in their grant agreements. So some might be required to do a couple more reporting touch bases throughout the year based on the amounts they receive. We do that because we want to be as equitable and inclusive as possible when we are creating these reports and these guidelines. We want to make sure that we have programs that might be run by 2 individuals, and we have programs that might be run by 300 individuals. So we want to make sure that we're meeting people where they're at when they're receiving United Way funding and being a true collaborator. We create a very standard application. So every program that is submitting an application, you will see as a reviewer that they are all asked the same questions. We really did a lot of work this year to make sure that in doing this, the application was equitable for all based on the time and attention that somebody might have to write the application. So we've added standards where most grantees will have you re-enter a program budget into what fits for them. We are allowing our nonprofits to be able to upload their own program budget. If you already have it, why reinvent the wheel? So really trying to make it standard and equitable for all. And then it's a 2-year funding cycle. So you're really making crucial investments into our community in a sustainable rate through those 2 years. And many people ask us, what do you do as a CERT volunteer in an off year when you're not running an investment cycle due to that 2 year of funding? We try to have some fun. So as you can see from those pictures on the right, we take our volunteers out for experiences with those nonprofit programs that you have reviewed and made these decisions on. So we do really work to try to continue to keep you connected throughout years that we are on an off cycle for investments. Laura, I'll have you go to the next slide. We'll just kind of go over what the process looks like since we are quickly approaching. So in October, we will be hosting agency trainings and volunteer info sessions. So to add to kind of the changes we're making and this upcoming cycle, we have moved to a new grant management software tracking system. So we'll host trainings for our agencies on how to navigate that system and also how to go through our application process. And then we will also be hosting our informational sessions, as Shauna mentioned earlier, where we will kind of give you a breakdown more in depth about what the CERT process looks like. In November, agencies will be submitting letters of intent. We'll host another volunteer info session, really kind of checking the pulse to see where interest is in our CERT process. In December and January, we'll be holding due diligence meetings. So every program that submits a letter of intent to us will have a due diligence meeting with one of the members of the community investment team, where we will really be looking at what they're intending to apply for and having conversations to help them create the most, what is the word? The most, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm blanking on the word when you're like, competitive application possible. Thank you. To create the most competitive application possible. Because as I mentioned, we will receive well over 300 applications and it will be competitive. So we want to make sure that we are giving everybody a leg up as much as we can. You guys, I have not had coffee yet today, so sorry about that. In December and January, signups will be due for those CERT volunteers. So we will be reaching out based on attendance at those volunteer info sessions to get you signed up and set up in our systems. Agencies will submit their applications in February, and then that is when we will go through our volunteer and staff review. So we will host an official training for all CERT volunteers right before we start the review. We'll show you how to get into the system. We'll show you how to work the rubric, and we'll show you what an application looks like. We will really work with you throughout this entire process. So we will have a month to review, and then you will work with our team in our meetings to really see where the dollars will break down and where they'll be sent. And then in June, we will go through board approval and get grant agreements out for 2 years of funding, which is always fun. Funding will start July 1 of 2024 and go through June 30, 2026. So that's kind of what our outline looks like. Laura, if you want to go to the next slide, I think kind of my final plug is just, we are very clearly starting our recruitment now. This is a big process with about 120 to 150 community members that are really doing this list. We want to make sure that we have individuals who have lived experience. We want our corporate partners. We want those that have expertise in the nonprofit world. We want to make sure that we have a very well-rounded group. And if you just have a passion for community impact. So again, we'll host those volunteer info sessions. And I think if we just jump to the next slide, that will have my contact information, how to sign up. If you want to send me an email, I will get you on our list to get invites out for our informational sessions. Or you can very easily contact your United Way account manager, and we will get you guys taken care of. So thank you very much.
Okay, I think I got my mic on, correct? Okay, good. Not technologically savvy, just have to admit that. Does anybody have any questions? Please just speak up. I see nobody getting off of mute. If you have questions and you think of something later, obviously, please feel free to contact your account manager within United Way. You've got a lot of information from this invitation, email information, so please feel free to send a question to myself, Carly for volunteerism, Meg, obviously to sign up for CERT. I know you're all going to rush out and sign up for CERT. It is actually one of the coolest things that I have witnessed. It really does show you how much we try to get our community involved with all the decisions we make at United Way. We do nothing in a vacuum. So again, thanks to Physicians Mutual for chairing our campaign this year. Thank you to all of you for joining us today and also for doing what you're doing within your corporation. It means, if you couldn't tell from the slides that Shauna gave earlier, there's a lot of need in our community but there are a lot of very, very generous, amazing people. And you guys are part of that group. We really appreciate your help. Thank you so much. Hope you learned a lot today.